This is going to be a very short career game. It's not a career speech. We do not need career speeches this time around. We just need a career game. So let's just take our phone, let's scan the QR code on the screen, or let's just click on the link in the chat box. Let me read out what I can see here. All right, so on the screen, we have project coordinator, social media content manager, digital sales representative, manifesting oga wife, entrepreneur, digital sales rep, entrepreneur, student, cinematography and video editing. Now, the reason I'm asking us to do this is simple. This career game is to allow us see how before now careers have moved from single title statements, from like you can just be a banker, or you can be a doctor, or you can be a nurse. Very simple careers. Careers used to be simpler. You can be a teacher, right? You know, they used to be simpler as they come. Carpenter, chef, you know. Um, think of all the old simple terms that can refer to electrician, technician, chemist, you know. These were simpler terms that we ascribed to our careers, or that people ascribed to their careers 10 years back, 5 years back, 7 years back, etc. Now, some of the things you have typed on the screen are now the complications of how much our world has evolved. You are no longer seeing single titles. So we've gone from, sorry, can we hear me, everyone? Please confirm you can hear me. Please confirm you can hear me. So we've moved from, type in the chat box if you can hear me. All right. So we've moved from single title careers to double title, triple title, right? For someone like me, human centered designer, only me. Like, what is that? Human centered designer, like too long, right? Um, behavioral designer, project management specialist, or something where the when the job title is not clear, when the job title is not clear, when your job is not focused or specific, you will call it consultant. You say beauty consultant, makeup and events engagement specialist. Um, yeah, when you are trying to make a career out of showing people how to write resume and telling people where there are job vacancies, you will say you are an employability specialist, right? A career coach, a personal career coach, or a self-esteem coach. You know, when you are teaching people how to be confident, you say you are a self-esteem coach. Um, get the point I'm making. It is how there is no more a straight line for defining career. There is no more a straight line for defining careers, and that's because of two things. Number one, it is the complexity of the future that we are living in. That's one. Number two, it is how um, it is how you now require multiple competencies to survive. You require multiple competencies to survive. You cannot just be you cannot just be good, right, in a specific area anymore, because tomorrow you might move from being a teacher to being a web developer. You might move from being a web developer to becoming an artificial intelligence designer. You can move from there and say what you're interested in is games design, right? There is the evolution that comes with specific career. Now that we have established how we have moved from simple to complex career titles, now that we've established how there is no longer a straight line for careers, it is important that we know two things as we continue. First, it is it is not useless, right? what you have been doing or what you are currently doing, right? Or what you have studied, right? You need to first realize that part that it is not useless. It is not useless what you have been doing, what you're currently doing, right? But what makes sense is there is no clear path anymore. It is now for individuals to look at themselves. It's the same thing I've been telling you guys for the last couple of years now. You have to now design what will work for you, right? You have to now design what will work for you, right? You have to design if this guy, people like me, I always say that I cannot do sales, a sales rep kind of role. I used to say that I could not do a sales rep kind of role, right? Um, Marketing per se, people that meet you and they be like, come and buy land, come and buy stuff, come and buy stuff, right? Sandra, this is not any shade to you. I'm trying to make a point. Um, Come and buy land, come and buy stuff, come and buy all of that. This is not that time anymore. I realize that it is important as an individual to not just be able to be excellent or competent, but to also be able to now put your skill out there as an entrepreneur. So while you are starting a startup, you are realizing that starting a startup is difficult, that the startup is not starting. In short, the startup space is so complex now that you need to be a lot of things to survive. The entrepreneur has now become a marketer. On one hand, he has also become a content creator. On the other hand, the content creators are now turning into musicians. They are now singing songs, right? Now, it is showing you the complexity of the future that we are approaching. How one singular skill is no longer sufficient. How we require multiple competencies in a short time. How we now require multiple competencies in a short time. And the biggest mistake I will make is to tailor my path according to another person's trajectory or growth or path or whatever. That will not be the biggest mistake of my life, right? It will be the biggest mistake of my life to look at my life and tailor what my career should be like after another person's path, right? I can be a project manager and find myself in construction. I can be a project manager and find myself in healthcare. I can be a project manager and find myself in finance. I can be a project manager and find myself in education. It now depends. It now depends, right, on the opportunities that I am leveraging with the competencies I am building. Some of us think that the career is more about the competence or the sector. And so we have sectorized our career, all right? And some of us think that we have to be complex. I'm not saying be complex. I'm not saying hold on to a particular sector. I'm saying be flexible enough in your design so that you will know what is working and what is not working. The next slide I'm going to put up is going to be the second statement I would make, right? There are now different phases as we go through our careers. After doing a job for a couple of years, we realize that each one of us is either still exploring, or we are now in the early career phase, or we are in the relearning phase, or we have given up on all of those things because we are getting so much rejections. We now want to build a business. Or while we are doing our career so well, we want to now build a business. Or we are tired, we just want to build a family. Or we still need to do both career and impact. So I want you to pick up your phone and I want you to pick your current life phase. Because as we build our careers, right? As we build our careers, we go through different phases. As we build our careers, we go through different phases. There is a phase where you are exploring, you can take any job. There is a phase where you are trying to build a family. You cannot just take any job or you cannot just quit any job, right? You cannot just quit and say, oh, I give up. I'm going to the village to go and learn web development now, right? No, no, no. You can't just take that risk because there is a family that's dependent on you. If you do that, you'll be very selfish. You will be disobeying the very principles of starting a family and raising a family. So you need to identify what phase is my career currently undergoing now, right? Now, is my career at the point where I've made so much mistakes with my skills that I really am not so good at anything and I'm not so confident as far how to navigate this thing? Or I really do not have enough skills for what must be done or the competency. So competency is not the same as skill. Competency is built when you are using your skill to actually do something. You will now realize that the skill that you have has mistakes within them, right? So I'm going to pause, and for the next 5 minutes, I want us to respond to this, and then we'll proceed. And yeah, I think for a couple of more minutes. Okay, 15 persons responded. That's some good number. Okay, just feedback. We can see how the responses are ranked, right? And in the ranking of the responses, the need to build both career and impact is on top. The need to build a family is at the bottom. That is because everyone on this call is between 20 to 40. By the time you cross 40 to 50, you will not be saying career exploration. That's not where you will be. Your teenage child will be giving you a headache. You'll be thinking of how to keep your teenage child in check by the word of God. You will be worried about your spouse, right? So it's not that the guys on this call or the ladies on this call do not want to build the family Gabriel. It's just that right now, in the rank of things, that's at the bottom. And there are some of us here who are already building families. I think we have some married folks in Yuli, right? So the priorities change once you settle. Once you settle maritally, the priorities change. The priorities change. It is very rare. It is very rare, right? It is very rare to be able to juggle these balls and not have any of them drop. The ball of family, the ball of whatever, right? That's why what I'm about to say is important. Now, you must take simple records of your life such that I do not think that the problem, right, that we have as a country, referring to Nigeria in context now, the problem that we have as a country in Nigeria, we know it's not the population. We know it's not the fact that we don't have people. We know is that what we have been doing in our country, if you look at the roads that we are building, right, we don't build them well. Those of you who went to your campus and your universities, you can see the difference between buildings that were built in the past and buildings that were recently built with maybe like third form and all that. You can tell the difference in the quality of the standards of the materials that were used for them. Because the other day you saw that the breeze blew and then everything was removed. I'm saying that to say that our roads are not good. Our buildings are not built to last, right? And it's because of the materials that we use and the calculated quality that we put, right? Therein lies our problem. We build a system where there are loopholes, right? That is how we have issues in corruption and all of those things entering. And this, in terms of career, as you see right here, is now you thinking of impact. It means you're not thinking of just money. There is a part of you that is looking for a bigger meaning. There is a part of you that is really, really looking for what your life would be at the end of the day. That simple message that your life would send. It now means that your competencies, right, can be built either in a very simple sense. You see that job you are struggling with that you are not so happy about, all right? It has its place. That job you're not so happy about can be your avenue for competence. Can we hear me, everyone? Can we hear me? Please, if you can hear me, let me know. That job you're not so happy about is your avenue of competence. And so if I am taking my Excel skill and I am making sheets every single day, I have to now start thinking that now that I'm very good at making Excel sheets for almost anything, what else can I do with the skill of Excel, right? What can this competency deliver, right? What can this competency deliver? What can this competency deliver that can be reused, all right, or that can be relevant? So I move on from just creating sheets to creating templates. From creating templates, you see that when you open Microsoft Excel, there are templates that you find there that you can just click for budgets, plug in the values, and it will automatically compute whatever, right? These templates were created by people who have moved from just being good at using Excel to start to whatever, creating templates and all that. So you need to find the next level of growth for your skill, right? That's what you need to do if you want to build the career. So now the question you must answer for 2024 is, what is the next level of growth for me? What is the next level of growth for me? Right? And basically, we always know what the answer is. The next level of growth for us can be different. It can be different. It might be that I need to learn a new software. It might be that I need to change role, right? It might be that I need something higher. It might be that I need a better paying job, right? We have to face all of those realities, right? So while we are doing what is the next level of growth, we must also be thinking, right? How does this affect the fact that I am at a phase where I'm thinking impact? So if I know that I'm at a phase when I'm thinking impact, and I know that my next level of growth requires that I learn French, right, and get a new job, it would help streamline the kinds of job I do, whatever. And it will also allow me dictate two things. How do I fix my time such that since I'm doing this job right now, I can also build this competency in this area of impact where I am interested, right? So these are things we must consider. So I'm asking myself, I am at the phase where I need to build impact. What do I need to commit to in the coming year? What percentage of 2024 should be committed to growth in impact? What percentage of 2024 should be committed to growth, right? Now, that brings me to the point. I think it was earlier this year we mentioned that getting skilled is no longer the problem. That was the problem 5 years ago. The message for go and learn a skill was 5 years ago. The message now is mastery. In short, earlier in the year, the message was mastery. Right now, the message is no longer master a skill. The message is now create a voice with your skill, right? Create a voice with your skill. Give voice to your skill. Give voice to your skill so that it can work. Because that is the age we are in, right? Giving voice to your skill or your competence or to your expertise is the only way we can remember you when we need to recommend you. When we need to recommend you and send that email in and say, all right, I have Osatoshi has been very great at doing M&E for the last couple of years. So please consider her for these appointments. You will realize that the next phase of your career that requires impact is more than competence. It is now the competence that can speak, the competence that is voiced. The voicing of your competence comes by mediums of expression Mediums of expression has been simplified into speaking and writing. All right. Speaking and writing. It might be speaking, it might be writing. Speaking can be done in vlogs, in the videos, in blogs, like that. So it can be something. If you are not very good at putting your face on the camera like me, you can put a write up to paper like Andrea. You can write like Andrea and then start to create a body of expertise around the things that you can create, right? So I am not bringing the message of learning skill. I'm not bringing the message of master a skill. I'm bringing the message of competency and voicing your competence, putting a voice in your competence. We need to hear your style of work. We need to see your style of work. We need to see how you are doing your work. We need to see how you are handling failure. When you lose a job, we need to see how you are handling it. We need to see how you are managing these things. Only then can opportunities and platforms and networks and people start to find you in the desert. Only then can they start to find you in the desert, right? Only then can you achieve what Daniel achieved in Babylon. Only then can the king's mother come to you and say, there is someone in your kingdom. In him, there is the light of all the gods. Excellency has been found in him. The wisdom of the gods have been found in him. He served your father well, right? The reason they remember is because it is written in the history of the books of the king, right? It is written in the books of the history of the kings, and the people that saw him do those things were still alive. They were still alive. Someone would see the very small thing you have been doing, right? Someone would see the very small thing you've been doing, and then the framework of quality from the beginning is now what will ensure that regardless of how complex your job title, regardless of whether you are in your relearning phase, right? Regardless of whether you are in your exploration phase, regardless of whether you are building a business, that quality, that quality of work has to come by asking, is this the best I can do? Is this the best I can do? Right? Answering that question is simple. It means I have to tell myself, am I looking for more, or I finished using the things that I have, the resources I have, the opportunities I have? Is this the best I can do with them? So this is the two things we needed to bring to you today in terms of career. We needed you to know how complex careers have gotten. We needed you to also pinpoint your phase. So the takeaway from this today is simple. Now that you know you already have some level of skills and experiences, it is now time to know that your career is growing in a particular phase, and you really need to do some thinking, You need to do some thinking. You need to sit down and do some quality thinking, some quality thinking. Do some quality thinking like Zack Snyder will do when he's thinking of these visual effects and of these extraterrestrial action movies that he's writing, right? Do some quality thinking like the script of Steven Spielberg, right? When he's writing those crazy things that I'm just like, oh my God, oh my God. Do some quality thinking in the book that Charles Dickens wrote when he said, is it better to have not had a good thing or to have found it and lost it? That is what we're asking. Critically appraise, how good is my competence right now? Can my skill speak? Does it have a voice? Have I mastered it to the point where it speaks? If I tell you when Gabriel started design, you'll be shocked. You'll be shocked. Gabriel has taken several jobs in the last couple of years, but one thing has been consistent, right? He has grown through the phases. He has grown through the phases. I can mention those of you who have been with us since the very beginning and how you have grown through the phases. What I'm saying is you must not ignore the growth that comes in phases, right? And you must build the competence required. Any job can get you experience, right? But how you do the job is how you build competence, right? And that is what would be the next phase of your career. All right. Thank you very much for listening to my TED Talk.